to allow you to do something like this. Let me just pull over this pre-made graphic and we'll zoom in a little bit. Normally, if you're creating connected diagrams, Visio is going to bring all these connectors in at the same point, especially if there's a connection point on this shape. Now, I don't know if the connection point is causing the problem or something has changed between Visio 2010 and the older versions, but I believe that the spirit of the separate and overlap settings are to allow you to make sure that none of the connectors are ever coincident. You can see we use the separate setting here to get that to work partially in one dimension, but still coming out of the superior shape, the lines are coincident. So if this kind of a thing, having absolute separation between connectors is important for your diagram type, keep experimenting with those settings or do a little internet search and see if you can find out more about it. I played with it for quite a while. I wasn't able to solve the problem 100%. Let's move on to line jumps. If we look closely at this little diagram, you'll see I've got a fairly thick line style applied to my connectors, and it makes the line jump pretty difficult to see. So let's go to the page setup dialog, and you'll notice on our layout and routing tab down here we've got line jumps, and we can change the look of them. For starters, one of my favorite ones is the gap style. I think it's nice and clean, but you'll see when I apply that, even that's still pretty tight because the rounded ends on the line stick out and don't make this a clear gap. Luckily, we've got vertical size and horizontal size, so we can bump that up. This just seems to be a setting. I don't know if these are actual, I think these are just settings from 0 to 1. They're not actual inches or millimeters or anything like that. But we'll just bump them both up and see what happens. You can see the gap has got a little bigger, a little bit easier to see now. Let's see what else. We can return it to the arc style. We'll hit apply, and you can see even the arc is much clearer to see. Moving along, we'll see we've got another simple little diagram here. And before I do anything, I want to point out on the relayout page dropdown that we've got the flowchart style selected, and Visio marks the last one that you applied in orange. Okay. Now, if we go to the configure layout dialog, for example, and say, well, I like this flowchart layout, and there's nothing wrong with straight style connectors. I don't really need the wavy ones, but I'd rather have them center to center, say. So I'll hit apply. And you can see that we've pretty much not changed the layout of the diagram, but we have changed the way the connectors look. And you'll also notice when we go to relayout page, nothing is orange because we've changed one setting, and each one of these items is a set of settings that belong to each icon. So when we change the look of the connectors, we've sort of invalidated the settings for this page, and they don't match anything in this menu. So the problem is if I move the shape and say now I want to relay out the diagram, I have to pick one of these, and the connectors go back to being angled. So what can I do? Well, in this case, you want to customize the ribbon, or let's just do the quick access toolbar, and pull out a setting from previous versions of Visio that's still hanging around. So let's right click on the ribbon, choose customize quick access toolbar because that's the easiest. Choose to show all commands and go way down to relayout shapes. Now this is the new setting, relayout page. Relayout shapes is from Visio 2000 and before. So we'll just click add, and we get the generic green button up here. So let's do what we did before. Okay, first we see that the orange flowchart, vertical flowchart setting is marked. We'll go down here. We'll say we want center to center connectors. We'll apply it just to make sure it works. Now let's move some things around. And remember, before if we clicked this, we'd get straight connectors. Let's not do that. Let's just click our relayout shapes button. Oops. Without anything selected. If you have a shape selected, it will only relay out the shape. So if you have no shape selected, it relayouts your diagram, and it keeps all the settings that you might have changed. So that's a little tour of other places to look for layout and arranging and layout and arrangement settings, and blah blah blah. So that's a little look at the places you can go to tweak some of your layout and arrangement settings, and look of your connectors, and how you can add a button to your UI to preserve any changes you make, but still be able to relay out your diagrams.